Hi there. Do you know where your child is tonight? Maybe he or she told you she went to a friend's place, and maybe your daughter told you that she's going to sleep over somewhere. But have you checked? Is she really where she said she's gone to? Have you checked to see if she's there? Why am I asking these questions? Because yesterday here in Austria, Vienna, where I live, something really, really terrible happened. A 13-year-old girl was raped by 3 Afghanis youths. Well, they say there were 3, but today we just said that there were apparently 4 young guys between ages 18 and 22. They raped this 13-year-old girl, and then they strangled her and then dumped her body outside like she was kind of trash, like she was some kind of trash. From what the police are saying, apparently one of the guys who was posing as a friend invited her to his home, and she willingly followed this guy home, only to get there and realize that there were about 4 of them, well, from what we are hearing, and then some kind of drug was put in our drink. Of course, from there, you know how the story ended. So this child, mere child of 13, was repeatedly raped and then strangled by this, allegedly by these 4 guys. When I first had this yesterday, my mind was so troubled, because we are talking here about not just one life is destroyed, the girl's life. We're talking about the life of an entire family. The mother of this child will never be the same again. The father will never be the same again. Our siblings, brothers and sisters, friends, they will never be the same again. When something like this happens, no one involved is ever the same again. So we are talking not just about one person is killed, we are talking about an entire slew of people affected, damaged for life. When I heard that the young girl, willingly followed one of our attackers home, and I started to ask myself, what do we teach our children? What was this child taught by her parents? And do our children really hear us when we teach them, when we tell them things, or when we advise them? Because I cannot imagine that whoever was the parent of this child never told her, do not follow a stranger home, or do not follow someone you hardly know home. I cannot imagine that this child was not warned never to follow some random guy's home. And let's not forget that this was a girl from a different race, and she was attacked by people from another race. So totally something, not that it could not happen with one race to the same race. We were talking here about a people that she probably didn't know very well, did not understand. How does a young girl of 13 just willingly follow some random person home? Like when I was growing up, my parents would say, you do not follow this person home. Even if when you knew them, they would ask, if you went to this person's home, who did you go with? You say I was alone. Why were you alone going with some guy to his place? You are alone, a young girl, even when they knew the person. It was just a given that it was not right for you to follow, some young man to wherever. And so I'm asking myself, are our children, what I'm asking myself, and mothers out there, are you sure your children are hearing you? Because there's no way the mother of this child or this child was not taught never to follow some young guys to some random person home. Even if she knew this guy, I'm sure she just knew. Maybe it was apparently happening somewhere called Donau Insel, along Donau Insel. That's a big park. Maybe I've seen her a couple of times, got her to convince her that he was a friend. But still, just a couple of times, even if he met her like 2-3 times and just meeting at the park, still was not good enough, friend enough for you to follow this kind of person home. So people, mothers, please, when you speak to your children, when you advise them, are you sure they are hearing you? Are you speaking to them in a way that, you know, they hear you, that you're sure they hear you? When your children say they are going here, are you sure they are going there? When they go to somewhere and say they are sleeping over, I've even heard of cases where young kids, you know, lie to their parents, pretend that they're going to a friend's place to sleep over, mean that we went out in town. I've seen young girls here in Vienna just puking by this west side, completely drunk. Some of them could probably not have been more than 13, 14, completely drunk and just, you know, throwing up. And I used to ask myself, oh my gosh, do the parents of this child know where this child is at this point, this night, these early mornings? So parents, when our children tell us they are going somewhere, do you check to make sure they're going there? I remember when my child, my girl was little, she would go somewhere, I would call that place later. And the mother of her friend would say, oh yeah, she's here. Why are you asking? I said, well, I want to speak to I will insist on speaking to my daughter. Because make no mistake, there are some mothers who are so silly that their little girls will tell them, oh, if my friend's mother say, are we here? Please tell her we are here. And some mothers, seriously, some mothers are silly enough and they just say, oh, they're just going with their friends in the park. It's okay, don't want to get them into trouble. And they're silly enough, they'll be silly enough to just say, okay, I will. And to go with that kind of nonsense. So not only will I ask the mother if my daughter is actually there, I will insist on speaking to my daughter. And my daughter used to get so upset with me. She used to say, but mommy, don't you trust me? So why would I tell you I'm going there and you still ask, you embarrass me in front of my friends? And I said, well, it's okay. Even if you don't speak to me for a couple of days, because of that I embarrass you, I'm doing my job as a mother. My job as a mother is to embarrass you into safety, to embarrass you to make sure you're safe. So mothers, when your children and your girls tell you this is where we are going to, your kids, girls or boys, and tell you this is where we are going, are you sure that is where they are? Do you call to ensure that that is where they are? Are you teaching your kids right? Are you telling them it's not okay to follow some random person, no matter what they're told? We are friends, we've known each other months, or we've known each other weeks, we've known each other, we've been speaking a couple of times. Are you telling your kids, your daughters especially, don't follow anyone home? Don't take drinks from anyone. Don't allow someone to just open drinks and hand them over to you. Sometimes when I used to say about something like, some people say, Sarah, are you not being a bit paranoid? But I say, I'd rather be paranoid. It's okay to be paranoid as a mother. So mothers, please, are you bonding with your child in a way that allows them to hear you? Do you have the kind of relationship with your child that allows that child to hear you when you advise them? Because I cannot even imagine as a mother to be told this kind of terrible thing, that your 13-year-old child was not, just the thought that that child was raped by 4 random, just raped by these 4 guys. That idea alone in your head is enough to drive any parent crazy. And then to know that that child was not only raped, but then that child was then strangled. Can you just begin to imagine the few minutes that was left on earth for that child? What kind of horror that child must have gone through? I can't even think. It's so horrific, so horrendous. I don't even want that mental picture in my head. So please, mother, let us do ourselves a favor. Let us be the mothers that we should be. Let us have questions, conversations with our kids. Let us ask the kids, our children, questions. Even if they say we are embarrassing them, it's okay. That's what mothers are for. We are there to embarrass them. We were embarrassed by our parents too. So let us do the right thing. So once again, I'm asking you, do you know where your child is right now? Are you sure that child is there right now? Are you asking your child the right questions? Are you giving your child the right advice? If you're not, please do that. Do so. So this is Sarah again, speaking to you on motherhood from an African woman's perspective. I pray that the soul of this child find rest. I pray that somehow God comforts these parents, the family, the friends, and let's us hope that justice will truly be done, will prevail. Those men or young men who did this terrible thing, may proper justice prevail. Until next time, we are wishing you good and positive parenting.